Hey everybody, this is Warren for AV Science, and today we're going to take a look at one of Sony's newest 3D Blu-ray players, the BDP-S780. This Blu-ray player has Wi-Fi built into it, so you can stream your video sites like Hulu or Netflix. You can listen to music sites like Pandora, all built in through this player itself. No other pieces required, no other equipment required. Today we're just going to open up the box, take a look inside, and see what Sony has for us.
Alright, let's check it out. Pretty much standard packaging inside here. The batteries, remote, and let's take a look at it. Operating manual, always handy. It's a little smaller than what you might be originally thinking if you're thinking Blu-ray player. You can see width-wise, not a lot, or depth-wise there from front to back. Standard component width on it. Zoom in and look at a couple of the features.
Here we have the player. It's got a standard glossy front to it. Load tray here on the left side. Very few buttons. We just have the power button on the bottom left. Towards the middle here, don't know if this will show up on the camera, but towards the middle here we have eject, play, and stop. Then over on the right side we have underneath the logo we have a USB port, so you can plug in your USB there if you want to have some external content playing through the player. Moving around to the back, you can see we have a pretty standard set of connections. We have one HDMI output there. We have our component video output. You still have the left and right audio and the composite video, just kind of legacy connection still on there. Wired networking is here. As mentioned before, it does have wireless networking built into it, but if you have a wired LAN, you can hook it up there. You have optical and coaxial audio outputs, and then there's a USB connector here on the back as well. So you have USB on the front and USB on the back to plug in your media.
Alright, now that we have this out of the box, the next thing to do obviously is to hook it up in the rack and see how it works. I'll go ahead and I'll plug this into the rack and I'll show you some of the configurations and the settings, get it hooked up online, take a look at how the network operates, and go plug it in the rack.
Alright, here with the Sony BDP-780, we're just going to go through and take a look at what the initial setup is like when you first turn the Blu-ray player on. Going to select English as our language. I am using HDMI here. Internet connection is set up right now. It is plugged in at least. We'll let it automatically choose. We'll shorten our startup time. So right now we're just going through some of the initial settings that you have on the Blu-ray player when you first turn it on. We do have an option to update right now, so it's going to do a quick connection. Then we'll pause here while it does its update. Alright, here we have the setup screen, the main menu screen for the Sony 780 Blu-ray player. And under the actual setup options, the unique things to point out with this player are in screen settings. Under screen settings, we have these two choices now for 3D output. Now the 3D output option is actually very simple. You either have it auto or you have it off. But that way, if you're only going to use 2D material, you could just turn that off. No reason to have the unit try to even sense the content. If you are using 3D, then you want to define the size of your screen. And this allows the Blu-ray player to try to help with perception as far as how far apart images should be, how to create the appropriate 3D image for your size. Now you may want to modify these numbers, just do some testing with these numbers, move the number up or down, and try to find the image that works best for you. Otherwise, we have the standard settings here for audio and video outputs under the setup. The other unique choices that we have, because this is an internet-enabled device, is under the music choice now. If you wanted to, you could go down and choose some of these options for internet radio like Pandora or some of the other choices that you could have for pulling music off the internet. Next to the music, we could go over to video, and here you could see all sorts of options that you have now for streaming video online. We already talked about earlier in the introduction YouTube and Hulu and Netflix. You also have Amazon Video on Demand, as you can see there. So you have quite a few choices for pulling video online if you, of course, have the internet connection enabled to your player. In addition to the video settings, you have essentially a network access here. So if you want to connect to Skype and have video calls on your full screen, if you're using a projector, you have a very big screen, and you could have Skype on your big screen. You could also just go to a regular browser and pull data online. And of course, you could connect to Facebook and chat with your friends, give updates to your friends about what's going on Facebook. So all of this is now integrated into your Blu-ray player. So this could become quite a primary piece of equipment that you use in your theater. You could stream your music, you could stream your video, of course you could play your 2D or your 3D Blu-ray discs through there. So there's quite a lot that you could do with this player.